I'm going to get my teaching reports out at 6 o'clock. And listen, this is great to see such a great crowd tonight. And I would ask you to stand for the invocation by Ms. Hood and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you so much for this beautiful day that you've given us. We thank you for this time that we could come together to make the best decisions for the district that can be made. Bless our time together and bless our decisions. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Hood. Item number 4 is approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion at this time to approve tonight's agenda? Ms. Olson, do I have a second? Ms. Hood, all those in favor, if you'd show it by the uplifted hand, and that is unanimous. Next item, item number 5, is the minutes of our December 3rd meeting. You each were mailed a copy or emailed a copy. Do we have any corrections or additions to be made at this time? Hearing none, I'll need approval to approve the minutes, please. Ms. Hood, I need a second.
A second.
Ms. Burgess, all those in favor, if you'd show it by the uplifted hand. And that is unanimous. Dr. Young, do we have any press here tonight?
We do not. Well, I do not think he snuck in, but I do not see any press here tonight.
Okay, I will turn it over to you for recognitions.
Yes, ma'am. The first recognition we have is actually, I have a proclamation from the governor. And before I read this, it's got a lot of whereases and shalls, so buckle up. But this is a proclamation in honor of School Board Recognition Month from Governor Henry McMaster. Whereas education is the foundation upon which the economic, intellectual, and social capital of our state is built, and whereas school boards directly influence instruction in South Carolina's public schools, and whereas the decisions of local school boards affect the present and future lives of children while setting the direction to prepare all students to be competitive in a local, state, national, and global 21st century knowledge economy, and whereas local school board members work with parents, businesses, education professionals, and other community members to represent their views and create the ideal education vision for their public schools and students. And whereas School Board Recognition Month highlights the unique role school boards play in representing their constituents by promoting and advocating for quality public education, now therefore I, Henry Dargan McMaster, Governor of the great state of South Carolina, do hereby proclaim January as School Board Recognition Month, almost made it, throughout the state, and encourage all South Carolinians to recognize the contributions of local school boards to the academic success of public school students across the Commonwealth state. So thank you. That very much encapsulates what you guys do for our community. So thank you for everything you do. And in honor of School Board Recognition Month, Ms. Candace Cherry, our District Teacher of the Year, is here on behalf of the Teacher Forum, I think with at least one other.
Janice is here with me.
To present you guys with something.
Yes, so we just wanted, on behalf of the staff and the teachers in Anderson District 1, we just want to say thank you for everything that you do for us. You're a big, important part of the direction our district is going, and we are just thankful for your commitment, your vision, and just your dedication of our schools. We just want to say thank you as a whole Teacher of the Year Forum for everything that you guys have done to support us, and we appreciate you. And we have a little gift for you guys and an appreciation. Thank you so much.
Thank you all, and thank you for making our job easy.
while we're recognizing, talking about school board appreciation, the January being School Board Appreciation Month, there's a couple people that we need to recognize. Across the entire state of South Carolina, there are 28 board members who are being recognized this year for their 15-year benchmark or more. And we actually have two of them here sitting with us. So for Miss Hood, Miss Melissa Hood, congratulations on achieving 15 years of school board service for Anderson School District 1. On behalf of the officers and staff of the South Carolina School Boards Association, thank you. You have played a critical role in guiding your district and have invested countless hours to improve public education. The SBA is happy to be a part of the recognition by providing a lapel pin for you to wear at the school board and SBA events. That's hard to say. But here's a certificate and a lapel pin on behalf of the SBA. And also, for Miss Nancy Upton, congratulations on achieving 35 years of school board service for Anderson School District 1. And again, on behalf of the officers and staff of the South Carolina School Boards Association, thank you. You also played a critical role in guiding your district and have invested countless hours to improve public education. We're happy to recognize you with a lapel pin and a certificate. So Ms. Upton, 35 years. That's awesome. Thank you. And we got one other guy that we need to recognize tonight, who is actually a former board member. So before I call him up, I want to read a few things. We have a gentleman here with us tonight that we just want to thank for 28 years of service to Anderson School District 1 School Board. I remember the first time I ever had a conversation with him. I had just been hired about 15 years ago. I had just been hired as an assistant principal. And he was calling to make sure that we didn't have any students who needed help at Christmas. And we had a long conversation about meeting up so that he could get some families what they needed to make sure that students could have a fun time at Christmas. And as I got to know him better over the years, he's always putting students first. But during his time on the school board, Anderson 1 did a lot of good stuff. We had 4 schools recognized as National Blue Ribbon Schools with Spearman, Wren Elementary, Powdersville Elementary, and Powdersville Middle School. We had 2 schools named Palmetto's Finest Schools for being the best schools in South Carolina at Palmetto Middle and Wren High School. He also did a lot of building around the district. When he got on the board 28 years ago, we didn't have as many buildings as we have now. We're about to have a 15th, but while he was on the board, we built Hunt Meadows Elementary, we built Powdersville Elementary. We also had 2 pretty significant building programs that led to the construction of Powdersville High School and also 2 brand new middle schools, Palmetto Middle, Wren Middle, and lots of additions to the different schools. I think we about doubled in size during his time on the school board. That about right? He's a lifelong Anderson 1 product, graduate from Wren High School. He always advocated for school safety. He was a big advocate for the technology program. And when we first started talking about technology, we were talking about just getting computers, period, in the schools. Then it became getting interactive boards like smart boards. Now we got these fancy boards like this, and then it led to iPads, Chromebooks, the different things we have now. But as we did that, it was always making sure that we do what's best for students, making sure students were safe, and making sure that students were continuing to give opportunities to learn at high levels. So with that, I'd like to just thank Mr. David Mucci-Merritt for his service to Anderson School.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it, everybody. Thank y'all.
Yeah.
But you so glad you came, and I remember when you first got on the board, and I also remember going to Wren High School, because I was teaching them.
You wouldn't let me sing in the choir?
He was in my choir at church too, but I got him to do the narration. If you've ever heard of a man that can narrate anything, this is the man. He's a great actor too.
That's not how the story went. After I was singing, you said you got a great voice for narration.
But he did the best. Thank you, and thank all y'all for coming. You know, you're welcome to stay, but you know how it is. You don't have to.
Yeah, but I was careful.
Yeah, you're welcome to.
Thank you. I'm all about food. Yeah, good for food. Thank you. You like that? Thanks, guys.
Okay,
We got some more folks we got to recognize. First off, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Brady. We've got some folks here on the front row that we definitely need to recognize.
Yes, absolutely. I would also like to echo, thank you so much for all you do, and thank you for our support of our being able to hire early. That means a world of difference, and we have several early hires here to recognize this evening. I'm going to begin with Avery.
Hi everyone, I'm Avery Stoneman, and I am currently at Wren Middle School doing my student teaching. I'm part of the Clemson Teacher Residency program, and I'm just really excited to be back at Anderson One and come back to the family.
Hello, I'm Zane Coates, and I've actually been in education for about 22 years. I was in Lexington too when I started, stayed home with my kids for a little while, and have been at in Pickens County since 2014. So I'm super excited to come over to the Anderson One family, and I'll be teaching self-contained at Red Nickel next year.
Hi, I'm Abby Morton. I'm originally from Greenville, South Carolina. I'm also a part of the teacher residency program. I'm currently at Spearman Elementary in 5th grade class, and I'm just really excited to call Anderson One home and be with you guys. And thank you for your support and allowing me to have that opportunity.
Hey everyone, I'm Camden Hayes. I'm actually born and raised in Williamson, South Carolina, product of Anderson One schools, and I'm currently student teaching at Powdersville Elementary School. And I'm just really excited and thankful to be able to call Anderson One my home.
I'm Vanessa Dixon. I am finishing my 9th year in education right now. I taught 7 years in Greenville County, and I'm currently teaching English 2 at Pendleton High School. But I'm really excited to be joining the team at Palmetto Middle next year and start a new adventure in middle school. I'll be teaching 8th grade ELA, and I'm just really excited to join the Anderson One family. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Young. Oh, and I do want to thank the administrators that have helped us recruit these great folks, and of course, Ms. Willis, always. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Wilson, I think you've got some folks.
I do.
Can I
Please.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let me, on behalf of our Anderson County School District 1 Board, be the first to welcome you to the best school district in South Carolina. And after these recognitions, y'all can
We have the privilege of recognizing another state championship in Anderson School District 1. These folks are familiar with state championships, and we're excited to bring them up here. Coach Cindy, come on. If you'll ask the ladies to come up and just, if you'll just tell us your name and your year, and then we'll get Miss.
My year?
Not your name.
No, I'm good.
We'll get this up and Dr. Young. Ladies, y'all come on up here, and we have a banner for you guys that after for y'all to.
I like that.
We'll give that to y'all, and I'm gonna let everybody. I'll let you introduce yourself once you get up here, and then it's up to you. All right. Tell us who you are and what year you are.
I'm Anna Reja. I'm a senior. I'm Jocelyn Patterson, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Giselle Sassero, I'm a sophomore.
I'm Peyton Carmen, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Alyssa Whiteside, and I'm a junior.
I'm Gracie McCall, and I'm a junior. I'm E.K. Latham, I'm a senior. I'm Katie Random, I'm a junior.
I'm Harper Latham, I'm a sophomore.
I'm Ava Chase, I'm a sophomore.
I'm Norman James, I'm a junior.
I'm Alyssa Joy, I'm a sophomore.
And that is your state championship volleyball girls team. A picture for posterity. Come on. Come on.
Get up here.
Bring it in. Come on. Come. Come on. Come.
When he comes in screaming, it's on y'all, not me.
Come on, Dr. Lambert.
We do expect another ring, so just congratulations. Y'all want to roll that up, put it in there to take it, you sure can. We have one more recognition of a state champion. Again, this is also a repeat for us. As y'all probably know, we have an excellent runner at Lynn High School. Grant Young, I'm going to ask you to come up. Grant is state champion in cross country. And I'm going to ask him to hold this, get his dad up here. And congratulations for your championship. And as you can see, he's wearing App State. He'll be running track and cross country for Appalachian State next year. So we're real proud of Grant and Coach Mark Wilson. I'm sorry. Coach Mark Wilson. Mark certainly had a hand in this, and we appreciate him. Congratulations, Grant. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
That's all of our recognitions.
And y'all can stay, but you're free to go at this time if you'd like to. Thank you for coming.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you.
You might want to go. Embarrassing. Yeah, why did you wear a hoodie and leggings? You
Always come back, you know.
Good to see you.
What?
Mike, you see the shirt?
I did not see his shirt.
He's got his.
Just sitting.
How is
Never face me, you know.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Doing well.
Travel ball. That's good news.
Hey, man, I understand.
Save some money this year.
Do you want some of us to
A lot of
stay at
money.
least?
Stacked up.
basketball.
See y'all.
I'm here for y'all.
We're glad.
That's fine, we're glad you're here. Always good to see you. Okay. Have the other.
All right, first, we'll to the financial report. You're in the December tab for those of you that are using the notebooks. First, you'll see the different school local accounts. I do want to point out, I know it's that time of year where we start paying attention to some of the instructional fees. And there's two schools that I just want to make sure you understand. They do have a plan. We talked to the principals. Palmetto High School's plan. Their instructional fee account will come down quite a bit for printer and copier costs. And then Concrete has a couple of events coming up for some parent engagement stuff. and some new furniture and things like that they've got plans to use. So those numbers will be coming down as you look at the local accounts at the different schools. If there's no questions on the local accounts, we can move to the blue papers that have the investment accounts. As you see, we've got 47 CDs with a little over $10.6 million invested that had over $289,000 of interest for the month of December. And then the food service fund, once again, got 2 CDs for $396,000 with a little over $4,300 in interest for that month. Page 3 shows all the different investment accounts and where they stand at the end of December, or as of today, actually. I'm sorry, I apologize. The next page is the backup of pages 1 through 3. Next page is backup to page 4, then the backup to page 5, and then the backup to page 6. Also,
what's the rates on CDs right now?
We are, the ones that are kind of advertising now are right around the, I got some today that were around the low 4s. That's kind of where they are currently. Those are fluctuating, and you know, every now and then you get a good one, and if we have the money to invest, we try to jump on it. So.
I know Travis and his team have really been staying on top of that over the last couple of months, so you can see that number of investments has gone up. The interest
rates are double-edged sword.
Yeah.
When we're investing and borrowing, right?
That's right.
The next thing that I'm going to share with you is in your packet that Heather's left for you is the twice a year we have to look at the minority vendor sole source and emergency procurement purchases from Susan Ashley. It should be right underneath your agenda minutes from the previous board meeting. Again, the minority vendors are self-reported. That's anybody that self-reports as a minority. Then you'll see in there the 3 emergency procurements. I just was going to explain what those were. You'll see a Davis Plumbing and Sewage for over $24,000. We had some plumbing work that needed to be done at concrete on the water line, where we had some pretty significant issues. Monarch Construction, a little over $37,000. That was some work we had to have done right after Hurricane Helene, some cleanup and get some things taken care of. And then Place Services, $31,000. I don't know if you remember, but right at the beginning of the year, Connersville Elementary had some HVAC issues that we had to get taken care of as soon as possible. So those would be the 3 emergency procurements. And then it wraps up with the sole source procurements for you guys to review.
Where do these come out of? Like regular athletics, does it come out of an athletic budget for a school, or we just are notating this as a minority?
So they yes. So it might be based on gender, like female-owned company is a minority company, or if it's ethnicity. But then, yes, this might be paid for at the school level. It might be paid for at the district level. Like any of that.
I got you.
And as you're reviewing that, if there's any specific questions that you have, please feel free to let us know. Travis and I can get that information for you. All right, Mr. Thomas.
All right, we'll pick back up in your notebooks on the 2022 building program, which is Subfund 502. You can see our total revenue there at just under 28.9 million. Total expenses through December, all inclusive of just under 21.6 million, and leaves the balance at just under 8.3 million. There on the bottom of the page, you can see the projects in progress of Oak Hill, of course, concrete primary renovations, and then the Pavitta High field house. And then also on the bottom right, the completed projects so far. All right, the next page is our local option sales tax, Subfund 515, also for December. There was no revenue received in December. So at the bottom, you can see our balance, beginning fund balance of $20,751,000 and ending fund balance of $20,476,000. And next report is our revenue report for school board. You can see all of the revenue accounts listed with the detail beside it. Totals are at the bottom. Revenue received for the month of December, $10,793,000, and in total revenue received year to date of $47,580,000, which puts us at 42% of budget on the revenue side. And in the final report is our expenditure report for the school board, and you can see all of the accounts listed. That's a 2-page report with page 2 having our totals. Expenses in the month of December total $9,548,000, and then expenses year to date $49,348,000, which puts us at 43% of budget. And both revenues and expenses are in good shape at this time.
Any questions? Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Next, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Moore. We did the school board recognition at the beginning because I failed to mention Miss Cherry also has senior night at basketball night, so she needed to go to the very beginning so she could sneak out. So I am going to turn it over to Mr. Moore for the instructional report.
Yes, sir. And I am just going to briefly stand and introduce to you Miss Kristen Hearn. So I'm blessed to work with a phenomenal team, an instructional team here at the district office. Kristen Hearn is our Director of Digital Learning, and one of the things we talked about was, I don't know if we've provided an update to the board lately on how things are going with our digital learning initiative and some of the things they're involved in, and then some of the ways they've changed and adapted through the years. So I'm glad to introduce you to Ms. Kristen Hearn and turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. And we didn't say this before in our recognition of all of you, but there are some additional gifts for you in the training room from our schools. So later on tonight, you'll be able to grab those. So they wanted to send their thanks along to you as well. So I'm Kristen Hearn. I'm the Director of Digital Learning, and I am very lucky to get to work with our learning team in Anderson 1. So under the leadership of Mr. Moore, and then our Director of Student Services, Christy Shealy, and our Director of Testing and Accountability, April Hayes. So we have really worked hard as a team to make sure that our goals of all of our different departments align for instruction in Anderson. And so you can see we have had some shifts in what our digital learning program looks like. I started in this position in 2012, which was right around the same time that we started our digital learning initiative, which is really hard to believe that it's been that long. And I was thinking about it earlier. While it seems like just yesterday, it also kind of seems like it was a lifetime ago. So it's, so many things have happened in between then and now. But when we first started our digital learning initiative, there was all the focus on trying just to decide what kind of device you were going to get, what was going to be best for the students in your district, what was going to be manageable for you. And there were a lot of options out there because all of these different companies were competing for the business of technology and education. While that looks a little different now because things have started to pare down what those options look like, there are so many other things to consider. So when our team started working together, we really had 3 focuses that we looked at. And our first one was teaching lessons using technology, because we had teachers on all different spectrums. We had people that were starting using devices in their classrooms one-to-one that had been teaching for 20 years. But then we had teachers that were coming in straight out of college. They knew how to use a device, but they didn't know what that looked like in a classroom. And at that point, nothing was being taught about this in our college classes, so it's brand new for everybody. So our instructional technologists would go into the classroom and teach a lesson and show what that looked like, which for that time was exactly what we needed because nobody knew what it looked like. So they would go in, it would be more of a modeling than a co-teaching approach, So the teacher would watch. Sometimes they would just ask the instructional technologist to come back later and do another lesson. Others, they felt comfortable feeling like, okay, I think I can do this on my own next time. Then we also had our professional learning. At that point, we were trying to build a foundation because we didn't have a foundation at all. So we were trying to look at whatever our broad programs were and just build a basis for our teachers so everybody felt like they could get started and they felt okay about it. That took a little while because we were looking at every teacher in the district, trying to build a foundation for them. So a lot of our professional learning was in person. It was big groups. We would go into the schools and we would work with all of the teachers at one time, which was exactly what we needed at that point. And then we were also providing materials to support individual teachers. Because in 2012 in Anderson 1, we did have teachers that were working together as teams, but we still had some teachers that were working as individuals. They were a little more isolated in their classrooms because at that point we were not part of a professional learning community, so we didn't know really what it meant to work together as a team and how that could improve our practice and make it easier for ourselves. So we focused on, all right, we have this individual teacher, they're teaching about Civil War, what can we help provide them that's going to make it easier for them? This teacher in math is teaching about fractions, and they want a digital manipulative. How can we help with that? Which was wonderful, but when we have 30 people that are serving 14 schools, it's really hard to figure out how are we going to split our time to provide resources to all of these individual teachers. We made it happen, but it was a lot of long hours to make that happen. So now, this is how we started. There's been a lot in the in-between time, but this is how it's going and where we are right now. So right now, you can see a shift to where our digital learning coaches, and we've kind of shifted what we call them to, as you can tell. We used to call them instructional technologists, but because it had that technologist word in it, they would get requests for lots of strange things. Like they would book somebody to come and help them fix their personal phone because they didn't know how to put their email on there or different weird things like that. So we changed and just kind of started calling them digital learning coaches because it focused on the learning piece instead. And now they really focus on co-teaching with teachers and helping enhance their instruction with technology. So when they go into a classroom, it's not just an email with each other to say, I'd like you to come in and teach this for me. It's a let's sit down together and plan together on what my content and what my standards are. So I know when I come in, you're going to be teaching this piece, I'm going to be teaching this piece, we're going to do that together, and I'm going to help as the coach empower you to be able to do it on your own the next time. And then after the lesson, they sit down together and think through, okay, what went really well about what we just did? What maybe didn't go so well, and how can we change that for next time? To really make everybody feel like they're ready to do it on their own. Then our professional learning has really changed as well because we've gotten that base level. We have our foundation for most of our teachers, except for when we have induction teachers coming in, or maybe teachers coming from other districts where they just use different things. So we've had to look at some different opportunities because we're not able to sit down and provide in-person PD every single time. So we have a model that we use that is micro-credentials. A lot of businesses use micro-credentials as well, but it is basically mini lessons, or not many in number, but many like little, little lessons where you maybe are watching a video, reading an article, looking at different websites to gain the knowledge, and then you go through and you do some reflective practices on what you learned and how you can implement that in a classroom. We also have some of these based around the programs that we use. These look a little different because the teachers are needing to learn how to do something with that program in their classroom. But we have some recorded sessions, and then they can have the instructional or the digital learning coach come in, sit down with them and answer questions and help them through it. We also provide job-embedded professional learning. So basically what that means is in your classroom,
if there is something new that you're wanting to learn, and you take that and you implement it as part of your lesson, then you're able to earn professional learning credit for that, because you are learning a new skill as you are implementing this as part of your lessons. So that has been a big way that we have shifted what our professional learning looks like for digital learning itself, but we've also embedded that in a lot of our professional learning for other things within the district. And then our last one is curating materials to support our collaborative teams. So instead of just providing resources, now we're able to create some resources for our teachers. Since our teachers are working together as teams, our digital learning coaches go sit in on these team meetings. They do a lot of listening to what the teachers are talking about, what the teachers need, and then they're able to provide some resources for that. They'll do a lot of creating spreadsheets when our teachers are looking at data to be able to figure out what they need to do a little better in their classrooms. A big project that we worked on was a playbook for our professional learning communities. So they created a big interactive website that has lots of templates that our teachers can pull from to use in their team meetings or use with their students. And there's also a glossary for teachers to go back to understand just some of the main points of professional learning communities. And then also lots of videos that they can go and watch, which Jen Mazza has helped us with a lot. She's gone into some of our meetings and recorded for us so we can show those to other teams around the district of what best practices look like. So this is kind of our shift to where we are going and how things are going right now. One of my focuses, I guess, for myself as the director of digital learning has been to make sure that as a team, we are making sure that we're always supporting the goals of our district as a whole, the goals of our learning team, and the goals of our schools. Because if we are not doing that, if we are doing other things that maybe we just think, oh, this is exciting, this is fun, but it doesn't meet those needs that we have, then we're not supporting the teachers and the students and helping them to grow to their full potential. There was a point where I questioned, is this the right way for us to go? Because you see nationally all these different ways people are doing things, even throughout the state. But for us in Anderson 1, I know what our goals are, and I know what our teachers are trying to do for their students, and what we are doing as a digital learning team is providing the support that they need to be able to make all of this happen for their kids. And so this has been a really great shift for us to make. One of our big focuses this year has been on making sure that what we're using technology for is very intentional, because we know, a lot of us having children of our own, that our kids have technology in their hands constantly. When they are at home, they're on videos or playing games or creating videos, doing all sorts of things. And that was different when we first started our program. When we first started our program, all of our kids didn't have phones. They weren't on technology as much as they are now. So we want to make sure that what we are doing is providing positive opportunities for them and not just there for technology's sake. So that has been a huge focus of ours this year, and making sure that we work through that with our teachers and help them see also what the most important pieces of technology are. So that is just a little bit about the direction that we have been heading as a digital learning team. And thank y'all for letting me share with you. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Dr. Hearn, the micro credentials that you've built out, are those established like with a college so that folks are getting recertification?
Ours currently are not. The ones that we have, we did base them off of what USC is using. We created them and put them in Google Classroom. At first, we wanted to use their platform, but it was a little cost prohibitive for us. But we're hoping maybe that will change so that we could do that to give them an opportunity to earn college credit.
And have you found that the instructional hub, are y'all able to reuse those resources that the state has built out there?
Yes, we have been able to use them, and it has been really great this year having that added into the ClassLink Launchpad, which they just started implementing this year. So the ClassLink Launchpad is basically a place where all of our students log in and all of their icons for programs that they use are housed there. And the instructional hub from the state level is also there, and there are lots of videos that teachers can use, and they're already vetted, so they're safe resources for our students. So it has been very beneficial for us to have access to all of that. And now, especially with adding on that ClassLink piece, everything seems to integrate really seamlessly. So it's a whole lot easier for everybody to access the resources that they need.
Dr. Harden, you do a great job. Our district is one of the leaders with technology, and it's really amazing how, I have two girls, and my son was one of the kiddos coming through when it first got started, and he was helping pass out iPads and all that jazz. So, but to see my two using Google Classroom and signing in on Clever and, using those resources, actual resources, not just to read a book, another way to read a book and things like that. The teachers at Palmetto Middle do a phenomenal job of that. So that's to y'all for leading the work. So
We have an excellent.
you may have to come train me a little bit more so that I can keep up with my middle schooler and my high schooler.
The team has an excellent leader though, and I've seen what Wendy says too, as far as my grandchildren. I've seen them progress over the years, because I remember when it started.
And we didn't miss a beat on e-learning days because
No.
the kids are trained.
Yes.
They know what to do.
They know
The
what-
teachers know what to do
that's
with the
right.
classroom, which is invaluable. You're a great resource. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
I'll say one thing she didn't say. She has spent countless hours. You remember at the beginning of the year, we were having to account for classroom libraries and follow up classroom and giving people ways to make sure things were appropriate, age appropriate and all that. She spent hours with her team figuring out which program would work the best. We set up a plan, and now that's the same plan that we implemented in Anderson Woods, what the state's doing, and now we're getting reimbursed because we were one of the first districts to do that. But they spent hours helping us make sure we were doing the right thing on behalf of being transparent with all of those initiatives to the state.
Are there limits set up as far as the digital technology with like primary schools and stuff like that?
Limits in terms of will the iPads shut off after a certain period of time, or we don't have it set up so they would shut off after a certain period of time. But for our primary grades, they don't take their devices home.
Okay.
So our kindergarten through second grade, the devices always stay at school. Most of our teachers at the primary level don't really start implementing the technology until, I would say, probably a month or more into the school year, once they've gotten their classroom procedures more in place. And then after that, they slowly start easing into it. One thing that we have seen over the last few years, even for our 3rd through 5th grade students, they don't always take their devices home every day, depending on what the teacher has planned for that day. If they don't have something that they're completing on the device at home, they'll leave it at school, just that way they're not going home and playing around and wasting time and spending all their time on their device rather than doing other things. It depends on the school how they have chosen to do that, but that has been something that some of our schools have chosen to do in the last few years. We have looked at doing, it's harder with our iPads to do those kinds of things. The management of them is much more in depth, and we are going through a refresh year next year. So our high schools, it will be time for them to have new Chromebooks because they will have had the current ones for 4 years. And when we do a refresh, high school definitely have Chromebooks. It's getting close to refresh time for middle school, and every time we do that, we send a survey out to teachers, find out how they like the device they have. We give them a little bit of information and let them kind of give us feedback on if we will continue with the same device or if we might look at something different. And we have heard from some of our middle school teachers that Chromebooks are something they may be interested in just because of some of those control features that you have on the Chromebook that you don't have on the iPad. And one thing you can do from the Chromebook management console is set a time. So you could say at 9 p.m., you want the internet to stop working on the device. So those, in the future, that might be some options that we have.
I guess my point was,
Yeah.
in the primary level, just being on that iPad or Chromebook constantly.
Yes.
I mean, that was my biggest concern was.
Oh yeah, of course. And we address that more from the school level and the teacher level of talking through what's appropriate for students, what is beneficial for them, what is not. Our teachers in Anderson One especially know that the teacher is the most important thing. And we talk about that a lot. And I think sometimes some people, not that they get uncomfortable, but they think, oh gosh, her job is digital learning and she's saying don't use this device as much as you are. But I feel like that's also part of my job, is making sure that we are using them appropriately and that we're making sure that our students are safe and doing the right things. So if you went into most classrooms, while we don't have a program that manages, okay, this child's been on the device for an hour, so now it's going to shut off, you will see that most of our primary classrooms use maybe a station model where they're only using their iPad during this 15-minute station rotation, and then they go back and they have a place where they keep them in the room and that they plug them in to charge them. They don't have them with them at their seats all day long. It's more of a very specific reason that they would go and get it from the charging station and use it in the classroom. Does that help answer?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. We appreciate y'all too. Y'all are wonderful, and we couldn't do what we do without y'all being so supportive of us.
We appreciate you and your team all
Thank
too.
you.
So,
Thank you.
okay, jump down.
All right, next we got Ms. Brady with student nutrition report.
Yes. As usual, our daily reimbursable meals will continue to increase. Also attached is, in addition to your typical student school nutrition report, and that is the School Nutrition Association position paper that was presented to Congress with 3 main goals: to increase reimbursement rates, to protect the CEP program and expand access to healthy school meals for all students, and to address unpaid school meal debt. That is a problem with some of our schools, but with some schools in this area, but Mr. Dopkins and his team, they do an excellent job in trying to reduce that overall school meal debt. But you can read that paper if you would like to know what was presented to Congress.
Again, that's that association, that's their
Exactly.
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Brady. Okay, next up now.
Next is the building program. And I've got some pictures I wanted to share with you. Is it queued up?
If you press escape, it should be another tab.
These are just a few pictures. So I shared a couple of these in an email with you a while back, but last week, Andy Finley and I met with the architects and we met with folks from Triangle Construction about getting started on the next projects at Concrete Elementary. So this is a rendering of what the front entrance of Concrete will look like in this. Doesn't say Concrete Primary, it says Concrete Elementary School. And the front car line will be redone a little bit there as well. This is a rendering of what the main office area would look like. And one of the cool things that we also have that is going to be in here is some artwork of what concrete has looked like over the different generations. So we've got some pictures from back in the 1960s, the 80s, then the early 2000s, and then we'll have an update of what it looks like that are going to go in there to kind of show off. It's got some nice security, safety features there for the ladies in the front office. So that's what that will look like. And then this is the biggest transformation of some renderings of what some of the classrooms are going to start looking like. If you take the original hallway there, this is what the classrooms on that wing will look like, and how they will be set up and eventually we hope to, over the next several years, continue to do some things to touch up some areas of concrete. So we would continue to do this as we had different building projects to continue to update concrete. But this is an idea of what the classroom there would look like. And Triangle says that if they can get started this spring, that we can have some classrooms looking like this when kids come to school in July. There as they get to work. So they were pretty confident in that. Doesn't look like that today, so I'm excited.
Is the ceiling slanted, or is that?
I think that's just a picture.
Okay, gotcha.
At least I hope it is. And then these are some pictures of what Oak Hill looked like last week. This is where the front entrance is at Oak Hill. I know some of you probably been by, some of you don't ever drive over that way, so just some updated pictures there. This is where the library or the gym actually will be, and that's coming along nicely. The far end, you see where the library will be in the main entrance there, and you can see where the office areas will be. And then this is looking down that main corridor towards where classroom space will be down the road. So that is coming along nicely. Since these pictures were taken, they've really started working on those classroom wings, and it's really starting to look like a school up there. What we're doing now, and over the next couple of months, we'll be bringing some proposals to discuss with you all. But we want to finalize the attendance line so we can start letting folks know what we're thinking. We're in the process now of hiring a principal. We're going through the interview process, talking to some folks. Really, because of the unique nature of Anderson One, the unique nature of the Powdersville community, when I was talking about all the awards we've won over the years, you've got Powdersville Elementary was a Blue Ribbon school. You've got Powdersville Middle is a Blue Ribbon school. If you remember Powdersville High School, we talked a lot about their athletic success, but they were literally the highest performing public high school in the state. And all that's because of the foundation of concrete. So we've got a tradition of excellence really that's embodied there in the Powdersville community. We're about to really have some transition there. We're going to change yes, we're opening a new school at Oak Hill, but we're also really changing what concrete and Powdersville Elementary are too. So we want to really make sure if we can find the right person within the district that understands the culture of Anderson One, understands that high expectations, we feel like that's important. And if we can find somebody internally, we can do some things without adding anything to the budget. That's from Mr. Thomas. But we can do some things without adding anything significant to the budget. We're starting to look at furniture in the next few weeks so we can get that ordered and get that process. And then late February, March, we want to start having some community meetings with folks out there because we're starting to get more and more questions about where's my kid going to be going to school, what's it going to look like. One of the things that we will have to discuss as a group at some point, things like what are we going to do with fifth grade the first year Oak Hill opens? Are we going to make everybody go to their new school? Do we want to keep everybody at Powdersville? What will that look like? So there's a lot of questions like that. We've also met with the staff at Concrete in Powdersville and gone through the timeline. Once we can get some things settled with administration, either towards the end of this year or the very beginning of next year, Ms. Brady and her team will survey the staff at Concrete in Powdersville, and we'll kind of get a feel for where do you want to teach and what do you want to teach. And that doesn't mean you get your first draft pick, but we'll start getting some some input from the teachers to see what they want to do and meet with them, and then we'll start working with the administrative teams and those teachers to make sure that we have 3 staff schools that are K through 5. In a year and a half, we'll be opening a brand new school, which is exciting. And so we're moving along. Andy Finley has really just been doing a great job working with Triangle and just keeping the ball rolling and keeping their foot to the fire while we've had some weather delays and 2-hour delays. Andy's driving on the icy roads, making sure those guys are staying on schedule. So he's been doing a great job there.
Seth, how do you, on the lines of attendance, is it use a heat map process? Do you kind of
Yeah, we've looked at, so there's a couple of natural areas that we've kind of used as some like defined moments. That's Highway 81, 153, and then Three Bridges Road, that are kind of like some defining, easily identified areas to start with. We've worked with County Planning Commission about like what's coming. So when we start splitting up the student body, that we have room in Concrete and Powdersville for there to continue. When eventually there's going to be more growth. Dr. Wilson's doing the best he can to keep people understand. We just don't have more capacity right now, but there's a couple of proposed big subdivisions near Concrete. So when we start looking at attendance lines, we want to make sure that eventually we anticipate that big, huge development passing. So we don't want Concrete to be at capacity when we open it. And then Oak Hill is going to be able to hold 1,000 students down the road. There's several large developments going out the River Road that can handle that. And then the other thing we're looking at is socioeconomic status, that kind of thing, so that student bodies are relatively even with those type of demographic markers. Yep. So, and again, in February, we'll have some more definitive stuff we can share with you. And with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Wilson.
Thank you, Dr. Young. You know, I had the privilege of getting to deal with all the policies. So we have another set of policies that need to be updated based on some things that have changed at the state level. Again, this would be first reading. We'll have another whole month. I'm going to hit a couple of highlights on these policies. I won't certainly read them all. The first policy, ID School Day, basically it redefines that lunch, where lunch is included or not included in a 6-hour day for middle schools. And then that's the biggest change there. The 1,080 hours instruction has always been the case. It just had not been in our policy, and that was something we added. The second policy, IHA, which is reading, English, writing, language arts. This defines our reading plan that's required by the state that we have to complete. You can see this hasn't been updated since '97. So there's been a lot of changes since 1997. So there was a lot to get in there. But this kind of really defines what our reading plan is. So that's the big thing there. IKE promotion and retention. There are a couple things I want to highlight here. We always use this promotion for grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. We've just never had it in policy, and the state's asked us to put it in policy. So if a parent says, well, my kid needs, they should be a junior now. Well, this is the criterion to be a junior, that kind of thing. I did highlight in yellow, I wanted you to see, the state has changed the requirement of third grade. It used to be that we were required to hold back do not meet ones. There are do not meet ones and do not meet twos. Mr. Moore can certainly tell you that that's going to increase significantly the number of students that will have to be required to go to summer school to be promoted. We still have some leeway of working with kids. The state has put in the state budget department monies to help cover that huge increase in the number of students statewide that will have to go to third grade summer school to be able to be promoted. If that does not get in the budget, that will be a significant amount of money for us. And it would be an unfunded mandate. We wouldn't really have much of a choice. So I did want to highlight that so you could kind of see that was a major change for us. Some of these others had, the information had been in an administrative rule that they had asked us to put in policy. The next one is graduation requirements. It's a minor change, but it's an important change. The 120 hours that are required for proficiency had basically before talked about approved hours from the state, but that also would be included in any local approved courses. If we said we have several courses that we approve locally, that you'd see that locally designed courses, it ensures that we don't design a course and say, we're only going to make you go to 50 hours for that one to get credit. it makes those to be the same standard that you would have for Carnegie unit credit. And that's kind of what that is. The other thing is, it's always been the case, we can apply for the state competency-based education if we had a process, which we may do at some point, that we felt like we've had kids that have moved in here, or a kid that just is so bright that they probably could pass the final the day they walk into class. And if they can do that, do they really need to sit in that classroom? We would say no. So there's a process we can go through to do that and go. The other thing it would allow us to do is to not hold sick time. If we had a process to prove that a student learned and had the material, that 120 hours could be waived. And there are situations we would want to have that. So it allows us within our policy to go through that process if we choose to do that. So that's where the graduation requirements comes from. And then the final ones, there are two. Again, these are from 1999. We actually had a metal detectors policy from 99. We hadn't had metal detectors, but we put that in place. Basically, it's just changing the language in those two policy and administrative rule to use the new term, which is weapons detection systems versus just metal detectors. So that's really the pieces. So I'll ask you all to read over these between now and next month. Anything you question or would like me to give you more information, I'm happy to do that. If you want to make any changes, I'm willing to do that too.
So we consider tonight as our first reading of these policies.
Yes,
If you
ma'am.
got any questions, all we got to do is call it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, next item, safety update.
I just wanted to be able to share, we have had the opportunity to use our Open Gate weapons detection system. We spent a week at Wren. Again, our plan is to rotate those. We were a little concerned being able to get the students through in a timely manner. Our staff is fantastic. We were able to just get kids through, did not have backups. We didn't have anybody late to class at Wren last week. This week we started at Powdersville, same thing. We're able to get kids through. We're going, the training's been great. It's been very, very positive. We're still tweaking to make sure we get what we want to get, but not stopping, backing kids up all the time. Our goal is to be able to find a weapon. That's what that detection system's. We're not setting it to necessarily find a vape on a child. We will get some hits on vapes because they'll come through, it'll hit, and we'll check in the bags. But it really is, our goal is to be able to find a weapon. And the one thing I really like about it is we have enough equipment that occasionally I'll get a call on a Sunday night, Wren Middle School, somebody's going to shoot up the school, and nobody lets their kids come to school the next day. Now we can tell parents there won't be a single student walk into that building that doesn't go through our weapons detection system. So even though we haven't identified who that kid is that supposedly is going to come, social media says they're going to shoot the school up, that happens enough for it to be a problem. I do think it'll make parents feel better that we can put out to the media that no student enters that building that day at any of our schools without going through a metal detector, weapons detection system. So that's kind of an update there. We'll be moving over to Palmetto next week and let them start playing and figuring out how it'll work for them. So just want to share that with the board.
Sounds good.
We've also, I want to give a plug to Ms. Harrell at the Career
I knew
Center.
that I was going to mention the safety.
We have worked with them to make sure we're sharing the cost on the equipment, but also the Defender personnel that are helping us man these. They're helping us pay to be a partner. So we're going to be able to share some of our equipment that we have with them, and they're helping us fund the Defender extra security guards that are circulating at our high school. So it's going to be a partnership there.
That's good news too. Okay, you want to move on now to item number G?
Yes, ma'am. As I showed you, we've met with the architects and the Triangle Construction about the renovations at Concrete, and they feel like they can help us meet our timeline by getting going on the main entrance, and some of those renovations actually have them ready to be open when school starts next year, and then have everything finalized by January 1st, so that with the bright shiny new school at Oak Hill, that we can start doing some things with concrete to keep it looking nice. Originally, when Mr. Binnicker made the original budget, and you all planned for how we were going to fund everything, we had hoped that we could allocate about $4 to $4.5 million for concrete to actually be able to do the classrooms and the main office and the front entrance and the car line. It actually came in at $4.8 million, which, based on some of the other projects we've done lately, we were pretty happy that we were that close, and we feel like that we worked with finance, feels like we had a good plan to make sure we have all of that covered. So I would ask the board to consider approving Triangle Construction to begin those projects for a cost of $4.8 million.
Okay.
Will they have a separate superintendent for this project versus Oak Hill?
Same. We're going to be working with the same guy.
Same guy. Yeah, not stretching him too thin, or
He'll have his own subs and things like that. But William Trammell is going to be managing Oak Hill, and it's just right there, and he's been great to work with.
Okay, so we will need a motion to approve these concrete renovations to go ahead with. Ms. Ellison.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve Triangle Construction Company to complete the renovations at Concrete Primary School for an estimated cost of $4.8 million.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Hood, any discussion? You are ready to vote? All those in favor, if you'd show it by the uplifted hand. Okay, that is unanimous. And next item is consideration to go into executive session to review the superintendent's contract. So we will need a motion for that.
So moved.
Ms. Ellison, I need a second.
A second.
All those in favor, if you'd show it by the uplifted hand. And that is unanimous, and I hope we're not gone very long.
Don't forget to get your gifts.
We gotta have a I would like to report there was no action taken during executive session.
Madam Chair, I move that we extend Superintendent Dr. Young's contract until June the 30th, 2027. Excuse me, 2028. Sorry about that.
see if you pay attention.
Numbers guy.
All right, you've heard Ms. Burgess's motion that we extend Dr. Young's contract until June the 30th of 2028. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Neal. So, any discussion? We're ready to vote. All those in favor, if you'd show up by the uplifted hand. And that is unanimous. Okay, item number J, personnel.
Ms. Upton, you guys have the recommendations, and you were able to meet some of them earlier in the meeting for Ms. Brady and her team for some teachers to be added to Anderson 1, and there's also one retirement and one resignation effective at the end of the school year.
Okay, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Do I have a motion that we accept these? Ms. Burgess, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wilson? All those in favor, show it by the uplifted hand. Unanimous. Next item is number 9, is to adjourn, and thank y'all. If I have a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
Ms. Ellison, do I have a second? Ms. Burgess, all those in favor, please stand, and thank you. Thank y'all too. Travis, I'm gonna get these things. I didn't even see them.
Oh, no problem. No hurry.
Third.